How to Survive and Thrive During the Collapse of the Welfare State. Now, since the people who wrote that book and became very enthusiastic about it were the people who collapsed the welfare state, it's worth thinking about the book a little bit. It was written by James Dale Davidson and William Rees-Mogg. Yes, it's true, it was his dad, Jacob Rees-Mogg's father. The book became the most extreme celebration of individualism. And its argument was that if you were at the top of the heap, it's because you deserved to be. The proof that you deserved to be in charge was that you were in charge. And similarly, if you were at the bottom of the heap, it was because you weren't very bright or in some way weren't prepared for power. These theories, these extremely individualistic theories, became the whole basis of the sort of hyper-capitalism that we've seen in the last 30 years or so. And they were championed by think tanks in 55 Tufton Street, of whom Liz Truss was one, and Boris Johnson was another product of that, and so on, Kwasi Kwarteng. They all came out of this very individualistic, the wealthy deserve what they've got, and in fact we should make life easier for them, not harder. So they were all very anti-taxation, and the sort of central assumption of the book is that individuals are the driving force of society, and that groups, like what we're trying to make, were in fact a problem. They were complicated, they didn't buy enough, they didn't act as proper individuals should. And I often wondered, why does the right want to insist on the sovereignty of individuals? And I think it's because the right is terrified by the solidarity of communities. We joined together, all of the people who make up Hard Art, which is who put on this festival. We joined together because we thought that the only hope for the future was if we started rebuilding communities. Solidarity comes out of people working together, and solidarity is the only weapon we have against wealth, I think. So I'll go to my own story briefly. I was born in a Roman Catholic working class family in Suffolk, far from Manchester. And I went to a Catholic school and of course left school and became an atheist. I then went to art school, left art school and became a musician. So it's a complicated career path. But although I became an atheist, the sort of central conceptual problem of my life was that I loved gospel music. And I realized that very shortly after I decided I was an atheist. This sort of paradox existed in my mind for until this day, really. And about a few years ago, after I started talking with Liz here, partly, I started to realize that although I didn't believe in God, I did in a way believe in religion. And gospel music, of course, is the product of religious activity and getting together on the part of people. And I realized I loved that, and that if we wanted to start making communities, we should look at the people who already do make communities. And of course, religious communities are a very good example of that. Of course, I know the downsides of religion. I've heard of the Inquisition and so on and so on. But there's a very big upside as well. And having now worked with gospel churches sometimes when I lived in America, and seen the kindness and care that they exhibit to their members, I thought this is really a model for how people can get together and be together. And in my case, the first manifestation really was coming back to England and thinking, I've got to start a singing group. And I did, with a couple of friends. And that singing group has now been going for about 25 years, I guess, something like that. We meet on Tuesdays. It's a mixture of people who can sing and people who can't sing very well. But funnily enough, the latter group get better and better as time goes on. And it's probably the best part of my life, those singing evenings. It's the thing I look forward to more than anything else. So some of that group are here with us today, and they will be joining me in singing a few songs. But the idea, of course, is that the words will be up there. The hope is that you will feel free to join in. And I can reassure you that we are a mess. So don't think you're going to be interrupting some pristine, wonderful performance. We're not really here as performers. In fact, the only two rules I ever had in my group were no recording and no performing. And that was just so that we knew we were singing for each other and for the moment, not for some future judge of it. So I'm breaking the second rule by having some of my friends here and performing. But you must help me in supporting them, even if we occasionally make mistakes or we fumble between songs, which we're very likely to do. Don't be too harsh on us. Remember, just because we're 6 feet off the ground, it doesn't mean we're any different from any of you. So I wish this stage wasn't here, actually. I wish we were down there with you. But I hope you can imagine that we are. And if you want to join in, please do. And if you want to come up on stage and join in, you're also welcome to do that. Pretend this thing isn't here. Steps on each side. So now I'd like to hand over to Liz.
Thank you, Brian. I'm Liz Slade, and I lead the Unitarian Central HQ. Unitarianism is probably the most interesting denomination that you haven't heard of. We've got 150 churches across the country, and to give you a taste of what we're like, I went over to Eccles yesterday afternoon to meet with the minister there. And when you go up to the church, it just looks like any regular Victorian big church with a spire. But then when you get inside, you notice that in the stained glass windows, one of them's got Isaac Newton in it, and another one's got Shakespeare in it, and there's a massive pride flag on the pulpit. So we're not big on telling people what to do, or what to think, or what to believe. And the reason that I'm here, even though my job usually involves just sitting behind a computer or going and having cups of tea with people in churches, the reason that I'm on this ridiculous stage is because I feel really strongly that culture is something that all of us do. It's not just something that famous people do for us to gawp at. It's something that we make for ourselves and that we make for each other and that we make at home and we make in our communities. And I think that's something that's really important to what the fate of Britain is all about. And religion is just a very particular type of culture. It's a type of culture that's designed to help us live well together. So that's what we're creating today, together this afternoon, is a bit of a taste of what it is to be in a creative community together just for this afternoon and connect with each other, and remember that we're connected to all life, and do some singing while we're at it. So.
Just add one thing to that. When I first met Liz, I said, so what's different about the Unitarians from other Christians? And she said, well, quite a lot of us don't believe in God, which I thought was a very good start for a religion.
Jennifer.
My name is Jennifer Reid and I'm from Middleton. Bloody hell, I got there in the end, cool. So I sing Industrial Revolution work song and Lancashire dialect, and I like to do it because I believe we deserve it. So we deserve this massive daft venue with all these amazing trade union banners above us, done by ad-hoc and some others at the front. And we deserve dues like this, where it's a little bit, loosey-goosey. We can do a bit of singing, do a bit of chatting, and it's just not that deep, bro. I just want to thank you for coming, and I hope you get down with what we've got to offer you today.
And I'm Boff Worley, and I've kind of ended up being one of the organisers of a 100-strong choir called Commoners Choir, and we've tried to spend about maybe 3 or 4 hours this weekend putting together a completely new choir of lots of people who've never met each other, and we'll see if it works, and you can be the judge of that. But the reason it will work is because you're going to be part of that choir as well. this afternoon, because we're going to encourage everyone to kind of take part in it. Just really briefly, I was born in Burnley in Lancashire, and my life was changed, and this is got I wanted to tell this story because it's got a Manchester connection, but my life was changed because I saw Johnny Rotten on Granada TV on the Sex Pistols' first ever TV appearance, where the first words that that band said on TV, on British TV, he looked straight into the camera and Johnny Rotten shouted, "Get off your arse!" Which was like a bomb exploding in my parents' living room when I was that young. And the kind of, the fallout from that bomb was that it created a community. And the community wasn't based on, that's Pink Floyd up there, and this is me down here. It was based on the idea that anyone can do it. We can all get involved. And that's kind of ridiculous, late decades later, that's what led to the idea of being part of choirs. Just get a big bunch of people together and see what you can all create together. And it's a wonderful thing to be part of. Cheers.